Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that the thought of them turning against you felt impossible? That kind of trust is not cautious. It isn't guarded. It is naked. It is the kind of trust you only offer when you believe the bond is sacred. You hand them the map to your weaknesses, believing they will guard it with their life. But in the shadows of human psychology, there exists a terrifying truth. The knife that cuts the deepest never comes from an enemy. It comes from the hand you are holding. We are taught from a young age that loyalty is a virtue. But what if I told you that for some, loyalty is merely a mask? A disguise worn by a specific psychological archetype to gain access to your inner world. We are not just talking about bad friends here. We are going to dissect the neuroscience of betrayal, the dark psychology of the fake loyalist, and the brutal philosophical reality of why we trust the wrong people. This is not just a story about losing a friend. This is the anatomy of betrayal. To understand why betrayal destroys us so completely, we must first look at the machine that processes it, the human brain. You might think emotional pain is metaphorical. When you say, "My heart is breaking," you assume you are using poetry. But neuroscience tells a different, much darker story. Functional MRI studies have revealed something haunting. When you experience social rejection or betrayal by a close companion, the anterior cingulate cortex activates. This is the exact same region of the brain responsible for registering physical pain. Let that sink in for a moment. To your brain, the discovery that your best friend has been lying to you is not processed as sadness. It is processed as a physical assault. Your body releases a flood of cortisol, the stress hormone, preparing you for a fight that you cannot physically see. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your hands shake. Why does this happen? To answer that, we must travel back 200,000 years. In the harsh wilderness of our ancestors, isolation meant death. Humans are pack animals. We do not have claws, we do not have thick fur, and we cannot outrun a cheetah. Our only survival mechanism was trust. If you were betrayed by your tribe in the Paleolithic era, you were exiled, and exile was a death sentence. Therefore, evolution wired a specialized alarm system into your nervous system. Betrayal triggers a primal terror because, for millions of years, it was the precursor to death. This is why you cannot just get over it. When a loyal friend turns on you, your brain is not just processing a social change. It is screaming that your survival is under threat. You enter a state of hypervigilance, replaying every conversation, analyzing every memory, looking for the predator that managed to sleep in your cave. But who is this predator, and how did they stay hidden for so long? Most of us imagine a traitor as a villain rubbing their hands together in the dark. But reality is far more disturbing. The most dangerous betrayals come from those who appear the most loyal. Psychology categorizes this behavior under a specific shadow trait, the covert narcissist. Unlike the overt narcissist, who demands attention and shouts their greatness, the covert narcissist plays the role of the supporter. They are the left hand to your right hand. They are the ones who clap the loudest when you succeed. But listen closely to the applause. Is it rhythmic, or is it hollow? Deep within the psyche of the covert betrayer lies a festering wound, pathological envy. They do not befriend you because they love you. They befriend you because they want to be you, or they want to possess what you have. This is what psychologists call acquisitive mimicry. They study you. They adopt your mannerisms. They copy your style. They integrate themselves into your life so deeply that they become an extension of you. But here is the catch. Envy is a double-edged sword. They admire you, yes, but they also resent you for having what they lack. This creates a psychological tension called cognitive dissonance. To resolve this tension, they must bring you down. The betrayal rarely starts with a bang. It starts with the slow poison. It is the backhanded compliment that stings just enough to make you doubt yourself. It is the subtle sabotage disguised as forgetfulness. It is the triangulation, whispering your secrets to others under the guise of concern. They use your vulnerability as currency. The secrets you shared during late-night talks, Those are not memories to them. They are ammunition. They hoard these secrets, waiting for the precise moment will grant them the most social power. This brings us to a terrifying realization. The friendship was never a bond. It was a transaction. You were an investment, and when your value dropped, or when your success became too blinding for their insecurity to handle, they decided to cash out. But why did you let them in? Why did you trust this person when, looking back, the red flags were waving in your face? To answer this, we must dig beneath the surface of the betrayal and look at the soil it grew in: your childhood. Psychologists observe that our tolerance for betrayal is often dictated by our attachment style. If you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where you had to earn affection, or where parents were inconsistent, you likely developed an insecure attachment style. If you have an anxious attachment style, you have a subconscious hunger for intimacy. You crave connection so deeply that you ignore the warning signs. You mistake intensity for intimacy. You mistake possessiveness for loyalty. The fake friend senses this hunger. Like a shark smelling blood in the water, they know you are desperate to be seen. So, they love bomb you. Love bombing isn't just for romantic relationships. In friendships, it looks like instant connection. They tell you that you are soulmates. They create a shared fantasy where the two of you are superior to the rest of the world. This feeds your ego and soothes your anxious inner child. You feel safe. Finally, someone gets you. But this safety is an illusion. You are not standing on solid ground. You are standing on a trap door. And the person holding the lever is the one telling you not to look down. When the betrayal finally happens, it shatters more than just the friendship. It confirms your deepest, darkest fear. The fear that was planted in you when you were just a child. That you are unworthy of love. That everyone leaves. This is why the pain is so catastrophic. You are not just grieving the loss of a friend. You are grieving the death of the self that believed it was finally safe. The betrayal forces you to regress, to become that scared child again, waiting by the window for a love that never arrives. If the roots of betrayal are planted in our childhood, then the poison that waters them is envy. But we must be careful here. We often speak of envy as a simple emotion, a petty jealousy over a new car or a promotion. But in the context of a deep betrayal, envy is not petty. It is existential. It is a fundamental rejection of your light because it casts too harsh a shadow on their darkness. To understand the fake friend, we must confront a psychological concept that is uncomfortable to admit, yet essential to understand. Schadenfreude. Borrowed from the German language, Schadenfreude literally translates to harm joy. It is the secret pleasure derived from the misfortune of others. You might think this only applies to enemies. You might think, my best friend would never feel happy if I failed. But neuroscience paints a more disturbing picture. Studies scanning the ventral striatum, the brain's reward center, show that when we see someone we envy stumble or fall, our brain releases dopamine. For the betrayer, your failure is not a tragedy. It is a biological reward. It validates their worldview. It soothes their inadequacy. When you call them, crying about a breakup or a lost job, and they listen intently, you mistake their silence for empathy. But sometimes, that silence is them drinking in your pain to nourish their own starving ego. This is the darkest paradox of the loyal betrayer. They need you to be close, but they also need you to remain beneath them. They want you to do well, but never better than them. This dynamic creates what psychologists call the crab bucket mental model. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it can easily crawl out. But if you put a group of crabs in together, something fascinating and horrifying happens. If one crab tries to climb out, the others will physically pull it back down. They do not pull it down to escape themselves. They pull it down simply to ensure that no one escapes. In your friendship, you may have felt this drag. It wasn't a knife in the back. It was a subtle weight on your ankle. The passive-aggressive comments when you tried to improve yourself. The cynicism when you shared a big dream. They were pulling you back into the bucket, terrified that your ascension would leave them alone in the dark. This brings us to the most dangerous type of friend, the ambivalent friend. We often think of relationships as binary. Either they are good for us or they are toxic. But the ambivalent friend exists in the gray zone. They are the frenemy. Sometimes they are supportive, funny, and kind. Other times, they are critical, dismissive, or competitive. This inconsistency is not just confusing, it is physically damaging. Research from Brigham Young University found that ambivalent relationships are actually more harmful to your cardiovascular health than purely negative ones. With a clear enemy, your guard is up. You know where you stand. But with an ambivalent friend, your nervous system is in a constant state of low-level chronic stress. You are walking on eggshells, never knowing which version of them you will get today. This chronic unpredictability keeps you hooked, much like a gambler at a slot machine, waiting for the win of their approval that only comes intermittently. But why do we stay? Why do intelligent, perceptive people remain in friendships that are slowly draining the life out of them? The answer lies in a cognitive trap known as betrayal blindness. Betrayal blindness is a defense mechanism. It is the unconscious choice to remain unaware of the betrayal because acknowledging it would threaten your stability. Think about it. If you admit that your best friend of 10 years is actually a narcissist who has been undermining you, the cost is enormous. You lose your past history. You lose your mutual social circle. You lose your sense of judgment. The brain calculates these costs and decides it is safer to ignore the red flags than to blow up the foundation of your life. So you rationalize. You tell yourself, they didn't mean it that way, or they are just going through a hard time. You become the lawyer for your own executioner. This is further compounded by the sunk cost fallacy. You look at the 10 years you invested in this person and think, I can't throw all that away. But you are not investing in a future. You are paying rent on a crumbling past. You are clinging to a version of them that existed 5 years ago, ignoring the person standing in front of you today. We must also look at the stage upon which this tragedy plays out: modern society. We are living in an era of hyper-individualism and performative connection. Social media has commodified friendship. People are no longer just friends, they are audiences. They are networking opportunities. They are content. In this digital landscape, the transactional relationship has become the norm. The covert betrayer thrives here. They collect people like trophies. Being your friend gives them status, access, or validation. But because the bond is transactional, it is disposable. When the transaction no longer benefits them, when you require real emotional labor, or when you are no longer the cool friend to be seen with, the contract is voided. They discard you with the cold indifference of a corporation firing an employee, leaving you wondering how a decade of brotherhood could evaporate in a single afternoon. This cultural shift has created a generation of hollow men and hollow women, people who are terrified of genuine intimacy because intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability in a transactional world is a liability. So they wear the mask of the good friend. They learn the script. They know when to say, "I'm here for you," and they know the right emojis to send. But there is no soul behind the script. It is a performance. And you, the one who offered your true heart, are the only one who didn't know it was just a play. The realization of this, that you were real in a fake world, is the second wave of trauma. It makes you question your own reality. It leads to gaslighting, not necessarily by them, but by yourself. You start to wonder, am I too sensitive? Did I imagine the slight? This internal erosion is often worse than the betrayal itself. It disconnects you from your intuition. That gut feeling that told you something was wrong years ago? You silenced it to keep the peace. And now, the silence has become deafening. But let's go deeper into the mechanism of the betrayal itself. It is rarely a sudden explosion. It is almost always a slow erosion. It is the death by 1,000 cuts. It begins with boundary violations, small ones. They borrow money and forget to pay it back. They make a joke at your expense in front of a group, then call you too sensitive when you get upset. These are testing grounds. The betrayer is testing your perimeter defenses. Every time you forgive a small disrespect without consequence, you are signaling to them that your boundaries are permeable. You are teaching them how to mistreat you. You are inadvertently co-authoring the script of your own betrayal. This is a hard pill to swallow. It shifts the narrative from victimhood to responsibility. Not responsibility for their cruelty, that is entirely on them, but responsibility for your own protection. The harsh truth is that we teach people how to love us, and we teach people how to betray us. By accepting breadcrumbs of affection, by tolerating disrespect in the name of history, we invite the vampire into our home. And once invited, they will feed until there is nothing left. There is also a darker, more Machiavellian element to consider: the preemptive strike. Sometimes a friend betrays you not because they hate you, but because they fear you will eventually see through them. They know, on a subconscious level, that they are not wearing a face, but a mask. They know that you, with your empathy and your closeness, are the one person capable of seeing the emptiness behind their eyes. This terrifies them. To control this fear, they must control the narrative. They betray you first to discredit you. They spread rumors before you can speak the truth. They paint you as the villain so that when you finally cry out in pain, no one believes you. This is the ultimate strategy of the covert narcissist: to burn the bridge while you are still standing on it, and then blame you for the fire. Understanding this architecture, the envy, the ambivalence, the societal pressure, and the preemptive strikes, removes the mystery. It stops you from asking why and allows you to start seeing how. It transforms the betrayal from a mystical tragedy into a predictable psychological pattern. You stop seeing them as a monster under the bed and start seeing them as a broken machine operating on a faulty code. And while this doesn't take away the pain, it does something more important. It gives you back your sanity. You realize that the storm was never about you. You were just the sky in which their chaos unfolded. Now that we have dissected the anatomy of the betrayer and the trap of the relationship, we are left with the aftermath, the wreckage, the silence, the question that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. How do I ever trust again? If the person I love the most could do this, is anyone safe? Is trust just a fool's game? To answer this, we must leave the realm of psychology and enter the realm of philosophy. We must learn how to rebuild a fortress that has been burned to the ground, not by building walls of stone, but by building a foundation of radical wisdom. The silence that follows a great betrayal is the loudest sound in the world. It is not a peaceful silence. It is the deafening quiet of a battlefield after the fighting is stopped. You look around at the landscape of your life, and it feels alien. The cafe where you used to meet is now a haunted house. The songs you used to sing together are now funeral dirges. You are standing in the wreckage of a shared history, holding a map that no longer leads anywhere. This is the moment of ambiguous loss. Unlike a death, where there is a body and a burial, betrayal leaves the person alive, but the bond dead. You are grieving a ghost that still walks the earth, still posts on social media, still smiles as if they didn't just burn down your village. In this darkness, the temptation is to close your heart. You swear an oath to yourself: I will never let anyone in again. You decide that isolation is the price of safety. You build walls of cynicism and dig moats of indifference. But here is the brutal philosophical truth: a fortress built to keep pain out also keeps life out. If you choose to never trust again, you have not defeated the betrayer. You have let them win. You have let them turn you into a prisoner in your own life. The goal is not to become stone. The goal is to become water, fluid, adaptable, but capable of carving through rock. To find our way out of this abyss, we must turn to the ancient wisdom of the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who faced betrayals from his closest generals and even family members, wrote in his journals, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Let that resonate. The betrayer wants you to break. They want you to become bitter, to gossip, to retaliate, to drag yourself down into the mud to wrestle with them. If you do that, you become them. You validate their toxicity. The ultimate power move is not revenge. It is indifference. It is the radical act of continuing to be a good, kind, and open person despite what happened. It is looking at the knife in your back, pulling it out, and saying, "This does not belong to me." But how do you reach that level of detachment when your heart is bleeding? You must reframe the narrative of what happened. You must understand that betrayal is often a form of projective identification. The betrayer carried a deep, unacknowledged shame inside themselves. They felt small, inadequate, or fraudulent. By betraying you, they tried to transfer that shame onto you. They wanted you to feel small so they could feel big. They wanted you to question your sanity so they could feel certain. When you realize that their actions were a confession of their own weakness, not a judgment of your worth, the weight begins to lift. You realize you were not the target, you were just the vessel for their poison. And you have the right to pour it out. This leads us to the concept of kintsugi. In Japanese art, when a valuable ceramic bowl breaks, they do not throw it away. They repair the cracks with gold lacquer. They believe that the piece is more beautiful because it has been broken. It has a history. It has survived. This is post-traumatic growth. Modern psychology tells us that trauma does not have to result in disorder. It can result in a profound restructuring of the self. The betrayal stripped away your naivety. It burned away the blind trust that made you vulnerable. What is left is not a broken person, but a refined one. You now possess a radar for authenticity that you never had before. You can spot the fake smile from across the room. You can hear the hollow note in a compliment. This scar is not a defect, it is a superpower. But to wield this power, we must learn the difference between blind trust and smart trust. Blind trust is what children do. It is the belief that everyone is good. Smart trust is what survivors do. It is the assessment of risk. You do not hand over the keys to your soul on the first day. You verify, you watch, you test. You observe how they treat the waiter. You observe how they speak about their ex-friends. Do they paint themselves as the eternal victim? That is a red flag. Do they gossip about others to you? If they do, they are gossiping about you to others. Smart trust is a dimmer switch, not an on-off button. You slowly turn up the light as they prove they can handle the voltage. We must also confront the hardest part of healing, forgiving yourself. Yes, yourself. Because deep down, beneath the anger at them, there is a quiet rage directed at the mirror. You ask yourself, how was I so stupid? How did I not see it? You judge your past self with your present wisdom, but you must have compassion for that version of you. That younger you was innocent. That younger you wanted to believe in the goodness of people. That is not a flaw. That is a beautiful quality. Do not kill the part of you that wants to love. Just educate it. Forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know until you learned it the hard way. And what about forgiveness for them? This is a controversial word. We are told we must forgive to heal. But let's redefine forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It does not mean saying, it's okay. It was not okay. It will never be okay. Forgiveness simply means cutting the anchor. It means deciding that they no longer get to rent space in your head for free. It means you stop waking up and checking their profile. It means you stop telling the story of the betrayal to everyone you meet, because every time you retell it, you re-traumatize your nervous system. Forgiveness is an act of selfishness in the best possible way. It is you declaring, I am too important to spend the rest of my life angry at someone who doesn't matter. Now look at the empty space they left behind. It feels lonely, yes, but nature abhors a vacuum. By clearing out the fake friend, the energy vampire, the ambivalent drain, you have created space for the real ones to enter. And they are out there. There are people who understand loyalty not as a transaction, but as a code of honor. There are people who will clap for your victory without checking their own reflection. But you will only find them if you are brave enough to step back into the arena. The new friendship you build will look different. It will be slower. It will be quieter. It won't have the manic intensity of the love bombing phase. It will be built on reciprocal vulnerability. You share a little, they share a little. You support them, they support you. It is a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat, not a roller coaster. You will learn to value consistency over intensity. You will learn that the boring friend who shows up every time you move house is worth 1,000 exciting friends who only show up for the party. As you walk forward from this wreckage, you carry a heavy truth, but a liberating one. No one can save you but yourself. The betrayal forced you to become your own best friend. It forced you to self-soothe, to self-validate, to stand on your own 2 feet when the ground was shaking. You discovered a resilience that you didn't know you had. You found that you could survive the worst thing you could imagine, and you could still wake up and watch the sunrise. So, let the betrayal be the fire that burned down the dead wood of your life. Let it be the earthquake that revealed the cracks in the foundation so you could pour new concrete. Do not wish it didn't happen. In the philosophy of Nietzsche, amor fati, love your fate. Accept that this pain was the necessary tuition fee for the wisdom you now hold. You are no longer the naive child walking into the forest. You are the wolf who knows the terrain. You know where the traps are. You know where the safety lies. The friend who betrayed you? They are stuck in their cycle. They will do this again to the next person and the next, forever chasing a void they cannot fill. They are trapped in the prison of their own insecurity. But you are free. You are wiser. You are stronger. And most importantly, you are still capable of love. And that is the ultimate victory. The knife may have left a scar, but it did not hit the heart. Walk away from the wreckage. Don't look back. There is nothing there for you anymore but dust. Look forward. The path is open. The air is clear. And for the first time in a long time, the story is entirely yours to write. We are decoding the darkest corners of the human mind every week. If you don't want to miss the next lesson on psychology and survival, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications now.